Hi, it's Robert Mendelson, Fractional CMO here in beautiful Montreal, welcoming you to another episode of the Fractional Pros Canada podcast. We're part of Fractional Pros Canada, the home for Canada's fractional community, and you can find us on Facebook. We bring you conversations about everything fractional that matters for fractional executives and businesses from coast to coast. Think of this as your go-to spot for real talk, practical wisdom, and strategies you can actually use, all without the corporate fluff and with plenty of Canadian content. Whether you're a fractional pro or a business in our great country of Canada and beyond, this conversation is for you. Grab your espresso and let's dive in. Welcome to the Fractional Pros Canada podcast. I'm your host and fractional CMO, Robert Mendelson, here in beautiful Montreal. Joining us today from just down the street in the GTA, Greater Toronto Area, is Robert Sinapri. Actually, we said we call you Rob, right? So we don't mix everything up. So Rob Sinapri, a former college professor turned entrepreneur, and now a strategic finance leader and business consultant who helps founders and business owners scale with clarity, confidence, and disciplined financial strategy. And as the founder of the CFO Collective, he and his team partner with high growth companies to bring a practical, grounded approach that bridges vision with execution, unlocking profitable growth and creating sale-ready businesses. Today's Fractional Pros Canada podcast is powered by Fractional Pros Canada, the home for Canada's fractional executive community with over 1,000 members across Canada. Join us in our Facebook group. Just search for Fractional Pros Canada on Facebook. You can also find Fractional Pros Canada on LinkedIn. Rob, welcome to the pod.
Robert, thank you. You must be a marketing guy. That was fantastic.
You know, that's what I do. That's why I'm here. So,
Well,
speaking
I'll tell you, I know we're supposed to find a quiet space, which I have. I see some construction workers outside, so hopefully that doesn't become an issue.
All right.
Let's keep our fingers crossed.
I'm about, 20 meters away from a major boulevard here in Montreal. So occasionally you'll hear sirens, trucks, crazy people screaming. You know, it's the big city, so you never know. It keeps things interesting as the background landscape. So speaking of marketing, Rob, you also have branched out a little bit from being a numbers guy to the other side of the spectrum of being a creative guy, because I heard a rumor that you are actually writing a children's book.
I am, yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, I'm trying to find it's a children's book meant for business owners, to be clear, right? I'm trying to find different ways to get the message out to our lovely, amazing founders and business owners about how what is happening to them in their entrepreneurial journey can be controlled and adapted and managed so it doesn't have to be so painful. So I really focus the book on the rule of 3 and 10, which is a business theory from Hiroshi Mikitani, who is the CEO of Rakuten. And it just basically says that every time a business triples in size, it breaks. Its processes, communication style, leadership style, everything has to evolve. And I wrote a children's book that is still in draft mode for now, but it's getting there, called When the Playground Grew. And it just talks about as the playground grows, Simone, the young girl who built the playground, gets upset because it stops working. When more friends show up, there's more problems. And she has to find a way to continue to evolve the playground so that it works well for everyone. And this is the same concept we try to attach to all of our clients to help them understand that as you grow, you can't be the same business at 10 million where you were at 3 million, right? And you can't be that same business again at 30 million, 100 million. The numbers are not exact, they're approximate, but you get the idea. So trying to find different ways to get through to these business owners so that they open up their minds to this possibility that you don't have to suffer. That we can plan and control this so that you can grow in a paced way without all the chaos.
Now, I have to ask the question. It's a children's book, but written for business owners.
Right.
Did you think about a business owner having the attitude, I'm not going to read a children's book?
Well, absolutely. But the fit for us, the clients that are the right fit for us, are the ones who are going to read that and go, wow, I've been so stubborn that he had to explain it to me as if I was a 5-year-old.
So it's like an aha moment.
Again, Robert, I'm desperate. I'm desperate to find any way to get through to them. It's so challenging.
So, and this is your latest attempt. Is the book out yet, by the way?
No, it's in draft mode. I can share it with you, but it's not final. I've got a couple of pages I need to tweak, but then it'll get out there. You'll
Okay.
have a copy as soon as it's ready.
We'll
So
we'll definitely circle back with you. I'm really curious how it's going to be received, and if you're going to get feedback from business owners who are going to say exactly what you just said. Wow, I needed somebody to put this in my face in really simplistic terms for me to realize what's going on here. So I'm really curious to follow up on that.
we'll see which way it goes. Try and fail fast, right? So
And at the same time, is this a book that you think would make, like, a proverbial great Christmas gift for the kids, especially those kids who are in families with entrepreneurs who are running businesses, and it'll be a great way for them to understand, get a little glimpse into what the challenges are of mom or dad who, are struggling with stuff with their business growing?
well, I hope it can serve both. It will help business owners sort of open their minds to what's happening to them in their lives and their business, and also be something that they're happy to read to their kids. And hopefully, if this goes well and is received well, it will be one of many of a series. If it's not received well, it won't. We'll see. So
Well, we'll see it. We'll see it in the dollar store. clearance rack. All right. So I'm curious, do you have experience? You have experience with working with businesses who are facing these problems, this rule of 3 and 10. Walk us through an example or two of what are the kinds of problems the businesses face, and what do you do to help them navigate that chaos?
Well, so ironically, every business owner thinks their problems are unique. They think that what they're facing is unusual. You can't compare it to others. And the fact is, the core of it is always the same. It's a movie we've seen every time. Okay. They start off, let's call it the $3 million business, and the owner touches everything. Every invoice, every check, every client, they can do everything on the back of a napkin. That's the standard startup mode. Okay. The business is entirely reliant on them. They get to 10 million, they're trying to operate still in that, what I'll call that tribal mode. And all of a sudden it's not working. The processes are breaking. Everyone is stressed out. The owner can't keep up with everything. So things are falling through the cracks. Problems are happening. Okay. You need to move to a managerial style. The owner has to know how and when to delegate what. They can't do everything on their own. New processes, new style, new approaches. Okay, everything stabilizes, it settles down. You grow again. You're now 20, 25, 30 million, still running it under that managerial style with, sort of one layer of management underneath the owner, and it's breaking again. The same kind of things start coming up again. The owner can't keep up. Everyone's stressed out. And what often happens is their top line is growing, but they're not making more money than they did before, which is a horrible outcome. And even worse, as they grow, they're constantly running out of cash because growth requires cash. So you have to build all of these structures and processes to support a business that can scale profitably and not go bankrupt. It's the proverbial frog in the boiling water, right? So you put a frog into a cold pot of water. You've never heard this, and you turn it up, and the frog will sit there not realizing it's being boiled. Now, the reality is, at some point it will. By the time it realizes it's in so much pain, it's burning, and it will jump out. This is the same for business owners. They don't actually realize that it's okay to not suffer like this, to not go through all this pain. We can do things to structure the business to allow them to run it in an efficient way without the chaos, with data-driven decisions. And these are all the things that we bring to the table, right? So I take a lot of pride in the CFO Collective because my team are business people who happen to be experienced CPAs and CFOs, but they approach every client from a business mindset. And why is that important? Because there's lots of fractional CFOs out there, and they're wonderful. They come in each month, they review the financials with you. They may review some contract situations, talk about the business now and then. We are there as the business partner. We do it completely differently, right? If you remember back to The Godfather, the adopted Irish son, the lawyer, we're that consigliere. We take that role with the business owner. We're that right-hand person. Through years, our engagements are always multi-year. And we treat the entire patient. And it's really important that we do that so that we can create this sale-ready business. And I talk about that, and business owners really get freaked out, right? They're like, well, I don't want to sell. No, but the goal should be a sale-ready business because it's the best kind of business to run. So you should build your business to be sale-ready, whether you're selling today or not. So this are the things we work on with our business owners as we move through their growth curve, right?
All right. So we're gonna unpack a lot of that, but need to go back to that. First of all, I heard you suggest perhaps what your second follow-up book title is going to be, which is going to sound like "Don't Be the Frog," or "Be More Like the Frog." Jump out when the water's boiling.
Jump out. Yeah. Don't wait till it's too late.
Right. Now, all that made you were sounding a lot like a teacher there, and it's no coincidence, I guess, because you have been a professor. You spent about 10 years at Hubbard College Business School as a professor. Do you feel that has kind of, you've brought kind of that teacher mode, at least a little bit of it, into your business, and you kind of go into teaching mode when you take on a client and you take that kind of teaching approach versus how other fractional CFOs or other fractionals in general may approach things?
I would say 100%. That mode comes into play quite often. What I try to do with our entire team is we try to work on founder evolution. Okay? We focus on the founder and how to make their life better. And that will make the business better. Okay? So we often take this role now, because again, there's lots of fractional CFOs that do more of what I'll call blocking and tackling work, which is important work. But that's not what I'm passionate about. That's not what drives me to get up every morning and go to battle with these business owners and try to get them to the place that they want to be. They just can't see it yet, right? So
the blocking and tackling is like, you have a lot of fractional CFOs who would come in and figure out how to win the next play. You're coming at it with, I'm going to come and help you win the whole game.
Right. We're going to build a team that's going to win you the Super Bowl. We're not just here to help you with the next play or get out of this quarter ahead. No, we're going to build the team that's going to win you the Super Bowl. We're going to help you be the coach and the leader in your business that's going to help you win the Super Bowl.
Now, speaking of the team, you shared with me that you have a very distinct philosophy on talent and that you explicitly refuse to hire, and I quote, retired CFOs who were doing fractional work between golf games. I love that description. And, the better you niche down, the more you niche down, the better in your business. And I guess in your hiring policy as well, you're very specific. You know what types of professionals are going to fit with the CFO Collective and which ones are not. So tell us about how you arrived at that conclusion.
Well, so there's a lot of fractional CFOs out there, and a lot of them are doing it as a lifestyle thing. They've retired now, but they don't want to, you can't play golf every day, apparently. So what else are you going to do? You want to keep yourself a little bit busy. So you're working 1 or 2 days a week, and that works really well for them. And there's no issues there. But the problem is I'm available, they'll say I'm available on Monday mornings and Wednesday afternoons. What if there's a problem on Tuesday morning? Do we wait till Wednesday afternoon? Well, we don't wait till Wednesday afternoon. If something comes up on Tuesday morning, that client gets in touch with us because we're their CFO and we deal with it. And the only way to do that is if you have CFOs who are providing fractional services on a full-time basis. They are working full-time. And we are all available for our clients. If something important comes up, you pick up the phone. Even if we don't have a meeting scheduled. And if we have to rearrange things, we do it. So that's the concept of not bringing on a CFO that's doing it between golf games.
When's the last time you played golf?
Yeah. Sorry?
When is the last time you played golf?
Oh, I don't. Okay, ask me about pickleball. I'm not a big golf guy.
Can we substitute golf with pickleball?
Yeah, you'd have to substitute golf with pickleball, but I can find time for pickleball. It's not a problem. It's a couple hours. It's not 5 hours.
Games. It's easier to squeeze into the schedule. All right.
Right. I can fit in the schedule a lot easier. So.
All right. Well, let's talk about the CFO Collective. So you've built a growing firm. You're building a growing firm, And good for you, because you are not getting stuck in what we call the fractional distraction number 5, which is trading hours for dollars instead of investing in a practice or a firm that you could one day exit. So
Right.
what made you pivot from, I assume you started out as a solo CFO, and then at some point you said, I'm going to make the shift here. I want to build a firm and maybe exit this thing one day.
It just evolved. Okay, I'm at Humber. I'm teaching full-time. I was a full-time professor for 10 years. During that journey, I had 1 or 2 clients at a time on the side, just things I worked on just to keep my skills sharp. And it just kept growing. And I brought on someone else. And it became evident about 5 years ago, I had to make a decision one way or another. Stop growing this thing or stop the teaching. And I saw the value we were adding. And I saw the way that I approach things with my playbooks and our style of providing this service. And I knew there was a lot of potential here. I saw what we were doing for our clients. And so I decided I'm just going to scale this thing. So I moved on from Humber. It was a great 10 years, but I'd run its course and my path lied elsewhere. And now I have 5 fractionals here. I have brought on my first one down in the US. There's a second one lined up to join us. And we're just expanding, and everyone follows the CFO Collective way, the CFO Collective playbooks. And we provide service with a certain approach. It's a certain kind of value and end result we're looking for when we engage with a client. And so it's just really exciting to get up every morning and do this. And as a result, I'm doing less and less actual client work. The clients I do work on are very few and very, very, they're old clients, original clients. Aside from that, I'm really focused on growing the business, bringing in the right talent, lead generation, marketing, and building the processes so that everyone delivers absolutely the best that we have to offer. So.
And by the way, the fact that you are expanding beyond the Canadian borders and you are hiring CFOs as part of the collective who are in the US, I think is significant to talk about, because a lot of fractionals preach to their clients, with the whole tariff thing. You need to expand your market beyond the US and look elsewhere. But very often in our own practices, we don't think of expanding our practice as far as, if we're working with a collective of our own or building our own firms, we don't really think too much about hiring other fractionals to work with us who are outside of Canada. And we should be. There's absolutely no reason not to. We should be following the same advice that we're giving to our clients.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of the services you provide, for example, and I provide, there's not a border around them, right? I mean, I don't do tax work. We don't do audit work. We don't do review work. We don't do tax work. We are strategic and operational CFOs. So for what we do, it's identical either side of the border. So why can't we provide the value, the special value we do to clients on both sides? There's no reason we can't.
Yeah. And the other advantage of building the firm and the collective model, and the word collective, I think, is really the key, is that you kind of have a leg up on other solo CFOs out there. Sure, they may have community, they may have connected with other CFOs through Fractional Pros Canada, but it's not the same as really being part of the same collective and working shoulder to shoulder, even if it's virtually, with a team of other CFOs. So this should be bringing additional value to your clients, because they're kind of able to get the wisdom of not just the CFO who's the principal, but the collective. And that's a great model.
Well, I'll say 2 things on that. Last week on Thursday, we had our 3rd CFO offsite. So everybody got together. Fantastic. Everybody's aligned. Everybody gets to know each other. They've all built relationships. So what that leads to is all my CFOs are amazing, but some have skill sets in different areas that others don't. So on a number of our clients, they've actually teamed up and reached out to other people in the collective for pieces of work they want support on. And so the collective model has actually worked quite well, which is why I named it the collective. This was the vision I had, right? It's a group of professionals that, when necessary, there is obviously a main CFO that each client gets based on the fit that I determine on our very robust onboarding, but the rest of the team is available to support as is necessary. So
now, when you are working with a client who is based in Canada and is looking to expand to the US, Do you get into helping them out with issues, financial blind spots, like sales tax or payroll compliance, which is different across the border?
Of course, yeah, that's part of our role, but that's also part of the reason why we're bringing in U.S. boots on the ground who have that direct experience. If a client is beginning to expand into the U.S. and they need support, we reach out to the appropriate resources to make sure that they have what they need. So if we don't have the skill set, we go get it.
What's at the top of the list of the blind spots that, a Canadian company decides, all right, we're going to expand to the US. What's next? And there's things they just don't think about, which they're going to have to do when it comes to the world of everything financial to get the business expanded out there.
Well, I'd say the first you already mentioned, which is they're not clear on how complicated and different the rules are. It's all state by state, and you really have to understand where you're going and what it means if you're going to operate there, right? There's a lot of rules and regulations. I mean, as we speak, I'm trying to open up a bank account in the US as a foreign corporation. Just that alone has been a tremendous amount of work. I have to register with IRS. I have to register with the state of Florida just to open a bank account. Imagine if you're going to have employees, you're going to have a property, there's a lot of planning that goes on. That's number one. Number two, they underestimate, I think, usually the amount of financial resources it's going to take to get established. They don't forecast well the amount of cash and have a safety net and a buffer to make sure that if and when they hit some roadblocks, they can keep moving. So
what's the rule of thumb for how big a safety net should they have?
I would want to see at least 25%. But first of all, before you have a safety net, you have to understand what your forecast is, which is also a problem. They're going into this without doing enough research and without a model. Oftentimes, I've been successful so far by back of the envelope. Let's just go for it. And it might be great. But the bigger the moves you make, the bigger the risks you take, the more you have to kind of plan and be ready for it, right? So
I remember a while back, I was looking at expanding my e-commerce business into the US, and I started to learn about sales tax rules there. And just like it is up here with different by province, down there, it's different by state, and even can go deeper than that. I learned even different municipalities. And I ultimately had a phone call with one of these SaaS companies who provides a software you plug in and it just figures all this out for you. And I'll never forget what the person I was speaking to said. And this has really become my mantra for life. And it is the following: tax is not a moo-moo. Tax is not a moo-moo. What does that mean? Well, you know what a moo-moo is, right? It's kind of like this one piece garment that I haven't seen guys wear it. I don't know why they couldn't, but mostly women wear. And it's just, it's not a tight piece of clothing. It's almost like wearing, drapes. I don't know. Right. I don't know the right way to describe it. I don't want to offend anybody who wears muumuus because there's nothing wrong with it. It just kind of looks that way. It's a really easy kind of one piece fits all kind of thing. And that's the concept, right? Tax is not a one piece fits all kind of thing. There's so many nuances to it and layers to it and different rules to it. And, not to get too philosophical, but it's really become my mantra for life, because it really, I think life is not a moo-moo either. Anyway.
It's very true. I like that. I might steal that.
But that always stuck with me. Tax is not a moo-moo. And
tax is definitely not a moo-moo.
She just summed it up right there all in one sentence. It was awesome.
And if you don't do it properly, it's going to come back to bite you.
Yes, 100%. 100%. And wow, it is complex down the States, but that shouldn't stop anybody from looking at that. Sure. Do the work. It can be worth it. It could be well worth it, of course. And look, all us Canadians love the USD, right? So there you go.
We do. Absolutely.
Rob, final question. The billboard question: if you could put anything on a billboard that millions of business owners and fractionals would see as they drive by it every day on the highway of life, what would you put on that billboard?
Oh, that's an interesting question. It's got to be short, concise, but make the point. So I'd probably say, to all my business owners, there's no need to suffer anymore. Just give us a call.
There's no need to suffer anymore. Just give us a call.
Yeah, and that's absolutely what it is. It's they can't see what the other side of the mountain looks like. We've been there. And we know how to get across. They just have to trust us.
I love it.
So, yeah.
Great message. There's a lot of people suffering out there right now who, I think if you put that up and you put a toll-free number, you might get a lot of calls from people who need much more help getting over suffering that is absolutely not even related to anything.
Yeah, I'd have to clarify business stuff because I don't know how good I'd be at helping in the personal area.
Well, with your teaching background and your children's books, you might surprise yourself. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know. Maybe that'll be a third career.
There you go. All right, Rob, we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for joining us here today on the Fractional Pros Canada podcast.
I appreciate you having me. It's great.
That's a wrap on another episode of the Fractional Pros Canada podcast. If you're a fractional professional based in Canada, we'd love to have you join us in the Fractional Pros Canada Facebook group, the home for Canada's fractional community. It's where Canadian fractional executives connect, share insights, and help each other succeed. Until next time, I'm Robert Mendelson, Fractional CMO. May your impact be full-time, even if your hours are fractional.